Your presence here is not accidental. You've entered a space that has been subtly drawing you in, and the feeling within is not mere fantasy. It's the calm before a significant change, a quiet signal that what you've steadfastly held in your heart is now subtly manifesting beneath the surface of everyday life. This reflects fundamental principles. Just as global trade follows cycles, every aspect of life operates in discernible rhythms and patterns. Understanding these can provide a strategic advantage in navigating personal growth, much like understanding market trends informs economic policy. Recognizing these rhythms helps you see that no past experience was truly wasted. Moments of imbalance acted as precise forces, shaping your will into sharper clarity. Each doubt offered a quiet lesson on maintaining inner balance, even amidst constant external change. This resilience is vital for navigating complex geopolitical shifts or economic downturns, allowing for adaptation rather than breakdown. You've likely noticed quiet repetitions, coincidences too aligned to dismiss, messages reappearing when you thought of giving up, or a feeling of inner expansion. Even in heavy times, these subtle signals are how the universe communicates with a ready soul. Expecting grand, dramatic events can make you miss the subtle signs, like fireflies at the forest edge. These small, consistent indicators, much like early economic data, are what truly guide you towards significant shifts. Reflect on recent days, where moments seem to linger for a fraction of a second. Perhaps as you walked through crowded streets, an old phrase suddenly resonated with profound new meaning, or a friend unexpectedly echoed thoughts you had silently pondered. These aren't random fragments. They are instances of resonance, which occur when your inner self stabilizes its energetic frequency. You are that source, the unwavering intention you maintained through mornings you wanted to give up, yet rose again. Through nights of counting coins, but never compromising your dignity. Through every quiet refusal to revert to old patterns simply because they felt safer. This inner consistency, a form of self-governance, parallels how stable national policies provide a foundation for long-term prosperity. When pressure rises and boundaries are tested, most people quickly conclude they are lost. Yet, those who have crossed certain thresholds understand a key rule. The closer you are to a significant achievement or summit, the stronger the opposing winds become. The nearer the dawn, the darker the night often appears. This isn't meant to frighten, but to teach your heart balance amid opposing forces. Only with such balance can you truly integrate and hold what comes next, a trait crucial for leaders managing international crises. What you hold consistently and deeply within your inner world becomes precisely what the field around you mirrors back. When your thoughts, emotions, and expectations move together in one harmonious rhythm, reality has no other option but to synchronize with that powerful internal signal. This is not some abstract fantasy. It is a fundamental quantum law. Energy consistently follows awareness, and that awareness, in turn, becomes your prevailing frequency. When your personal frequency stabilizes in alignment with the deepest truth of who you inherently are, everything that does not match this new, higher vibration must either gracefully dissolve or profoundly transform. This explains why certain people gently fade away from your life, why old, familiar paths unexpectedly close, and why new opportunities often appear with impossible, perfect timing. It is not mere luck. It is a predictable outcome of physics. You are not being randomly tested by chaos. You are being precisely rearranged by an intelligent force. We were often taught early on to doubt intuition, believing peace only arrives once all problems are resolved. So, when peace unexpectedly appears, we might initially find it strange. Yet, this is the natural order. A river doesn't wait to reach the ocean to know its identity. It knows from its source by the feeling of continuous flow. Similarly, you know you are moving correctly when peace accompanies each step, even if some residual fog from the past still lingers. This self-referential peace is a reliable internal compass. The field never truly withholds. It only recalibrates to a more aligned state. You are not behind schedule. You are being refined and prepared. There exists a version of you that has already successfully completed this magnificent transformation. They exist not in some distant, inaccessible future, but as a vibrant frequency that is fully accessible in this very breath. This future self is calm, steady, and utterly certain, precisely because they remember that true creation is not an act of forceful effort, but an act of profound recognition. Third, repeating loops of synchronicity. A word, a number, a theme, circling back until you acknowledge and respond to it. These loops end not when ignored, but when acted upon. Ignoring such signals, much like ignoring economic indicators, can lead to missed opportunities for vital adjustments. You are not slowly climbing toward a distant higher self. You are, in fact, collapsing into the one that has always been your inherent truth. When you finally stop chasing the light outside yourself, you realize with profound clarity that you were never truly in the dark to begin with. In the quiet stillness that follows the cessation of striving, you begin to sense an innate intelligence that has always known precisely what to do. It moves effortlessly through you the moment you cease resisting its flow. It breathes within you when you consciously exhale control and release your grip. This profound intelligence is not something separate or outside of you. It is the very architecture of your own being, the blueprint of your deepest self. It intrinsically knows what to release, what needs healing, and what is ready to be built. Your primary task is simply to listen to this inner wisdom without distortion or interference. The more you consciously listen, the more you will notice how life eloquently speaks to you in intricate mirrors. The ongoing conversation with reality never truly ends. Do not let your mind convince you that you are alone. You are not. This isn't just a comforting thought, but a reflection of the physical truth of resonance. When one being stabilizes a frequency, others tuned to it naturally appear in their orbit. This might be a message from someone you thought was gone, an opportunity arriving through impossible timing, or even a short video appearing at the exact moment you need it. None of this makes you passive. It reminds you that your primary work is inner stability, allowing the natural energetic pull to occur while the larger field arranges the necessary connections. This reflects how a nation's internal stability attracts alliances and economic partners. Each one meticulously dismantled an identity that simply could not survive the powerful light you now carry. Every heartbreak peeled away another layer of illusion. Every disappointment gently taught you deeper resonance. You were never truly losing. You were, in essence, continuously tuning. This is precisely why you are here now. Not to be convinced of something new, but to remember and awaken what has always been residing within you. The version of you that once doubted is gracefully dissolving. The version that inherently knows is powerfully emerging. If reading this makes your chest expand even slightly, that resonance is enough for today. Do not demand grand, immediate proof. Allow confirmations to come softly, like golden dust floating in morning light, accumulating until they reach critical mass. You will see what you need when you are stable enough to truly perceive it. This gradual accumulation mirrors the slow, deliberate growth required for sustainable economic development. Remember, the reward is not just the destination. It is the mastery built along the way, the ability to notice signals amid noise, to stand firm in heavy winds, to say yes to the small door your heart knows is right. This is the power of one who lives as both observer and creator, calm, precise, and awake. This integrated approach is often characteristic of visionary leaders who navigate complex global challenges with both strategic insight and intuitive foresight. If you need one act to close this chapter, write down a single word for your base frequency this week. Perhaps peace, clarity, or trust. Place it where you can see it, and each time you pass, silently agree again with yourself. Then, continue living as if the path were already formed, because in a deeper sense, it is. You are walking it now, one steady breath and one aligned choice at a time. This deliberate self-affirmation acts as a powerful psychological anchor, akin to a central bank, setting a clear monetary policy that guides numerous smaller economic decisions. When the intensity of life suddenly increases, and everything that once felt stable begins to crack, most people quickly conclude they have gone the wrong way. But in truth, it is merely the signal of a compression phase before expansion, a deliberate contraction by nature, testing the durability of the soul before it is upgraded. The truth is, the universe never throws random challenges into anyone's life. Every disruption is measured precisely by its frequency, timing, and the level of endurance your spirit is ready to handle. Each choice, in turn, creates a new timeline. And right now, in this very breath, you have already chosen the one where you are free. The shift has already happened. You can distinctly feel it in the way time itself seems to bend around your awareness. You notice it in how what once drained your energy no longer holds weight or power over you, and what once felt distant now feels entirely inevitable. There is a quiet, profound rearrangement occurring beneath the surface of conscious thought, a deep synchronization between who you were and who you are, dynamically becoming. You might not yet visually perceive the external changes, but the field has already registered them. The field always moves first. Matter then gracefully follows. Energy leads, and reality adjusts. This adjustment occurs not because you demand it, but because your fundamental frequency has changed. Every time you consciously release resistance, your vibration naturally rises. Every time you trust the unseen forces at play, it expands the signal of your coherence, and the universe responds immediately and powerfully. It was never truly about effort. It was always about alignment. Effort belongs to the old paradigm, where you mistakenly believed the world existed entirely outside of you, and that you had to constantly push against it to get what you wanted. Alignment belongs to truth, where you profoundly realize that the world is only ever responding to your internal state. When your energy clearly declares, "I am ready," everything that matches that readiness appears not as random coincidence, but as a direct, undeniable response. So, when finances feel suffocating, when relationships stretch your patience, or when the career you trusted begins to tremble, do not call it punishment. Recognize that you are at the final stage of a transformation process, where the old is dissolving and the new is forming. Pressure is not the enemy. It is confirmation that you have reached the last wall of the old cycle, and with one conscious breath, you can pass through it. The field then mirrors this incoherence with confusion and delay. This is why the crucial first step of transformation is not about doing more, but about remembering what you are beyond your conditioning. Coherence truly begins when your thoughts, emotions, and actions stop arguing with each other. It's when what you deeply believe becomes what you genuinely feel, and what you feel then becomes what you authentically choose. This is how your frequency stabilizes and becomes a clear, powerful signal. What we call chaos is actually the reorganization of energy, a restructuring where outdated parts are released. What is collapsing is not you. It is the old version of you, the layer of perception that once served you, but has now become a confinement. Every phase of growth has its breaking point, when new energy no longer fits its previous form. That is why many feel restless, disoriented, tempted to stop or turn back, because they do not realize that every chaos is the prelude to a higher order. The universe breathes in cycles of contraction and expansion, like inhaling and exhaling. You cannot only breathe in without letting go, nor can you receive light without passing through shadow. During contraction, everything unresolved within you surfaces: wounds, fears, suppressed memories, all rising together, not to torment you, but to be released. They do not return to harm you, they return to say goodbye. If you resist, you prolong the pain. If you accept, they dissolve like mist under sunlight. This mirrors the psychological process of confronting buried trauma for healing, and how nations must address historical grievances for future cohesion. When you stop forcefully dictating how things should unfold, you open immense space for the profound intelligence of the field to reveal the perfect path. Your future self already intuitively knows the way. Their role is not to teach you through linear logic, but through powerful resonance. They transmit impulses to you through intuition, gentle nudges through coincidence, and precise synchronization through impeccable timing. The more you learn to trust these subtle signals, the faster you will move, because you are no longer walking alone. You are being powerfully pulled by resonance. A person who stays observant in turbulence is like a goldsmith knowing exactly when the fire is hot enough to bend the metal without breaking it. This discerning approach is a hallmark of strategic geopolitical thinking, where leaders must remain calm under pressure. Watch how your body reacts, the heart beating faster, the breath shortening, the mind imagining worst-case scenarios. Instead of being pulled by it, do the opposite. Relax your shoulders, breathe into your belly, and face the pressure as if greeting a guest who had long been expected. In that moment, you move from passive to active, from victim to navigator. This deliberate self-regulation is a crucial aspect of emotional intelligence, enabling individuals to perform effectively under duress, a skill highly valued in crisis management. Your only task is to match its specific frequency and allow it to crystallize effortlessly into your lived experience. What often delays manifestation is the tenacious illusion of separation, the belief that the thing you want is somewhere entirely outside of you, which then forces the field to maintain that perceived separation. The instant you truly realize it already exists within your own vibration, the gap closes instantly. You are never truly waiting for reality. Reality is patiently waiting for you to align yourself. This psychological insight is crucial, as chronic fear can significantly impair decision-making, both personally and on a larger organizational or even national scale. It tests you not to measure your worth, but to confirm your stability, because when your frequency becomes stable enough, the field then entrusts you with more energy, more influence, more responsibility. This is what growth truly means. It is not the gaining of external power. It is the internal capacity to hold that power with grace and integrity. Every challenge you have ever faced was a precise tuning fork, teaching your nervous system to hold a higher current of consciousness. You are not behind schedule. You are precisely timed by divine intelligence, which never rushes but unfolds in perfect harmony. Every timeline you thought you missed never truly existed in a way that was compatible with your current self. They were simply frequencies that were incompatible with who you are now. When you deeply understand this, you stop mourning what is left and begin celebrating with joy what is arriving. Alignment is not about achieving some elusive perfection. It is about profound honesty. Honesty about what genuinely resonates with you, what depletes your energy, what expands your being, and what contracts it. When you stop lying to yourself, the field stops lying to you. The outer world then begins to reflect pure authenticity. The people who genuinely match your new vibration naturally stay close. Those who do not simply drift away without conflict or drama. This is not a loss. It is a vital refinement of your energetic field. Energy must always stay in resonance. See pain as a strength test, tension as proof of process, and chaos as the contraction of the universe before birth. This perspective is foundational in systems thinking, recognizing that disruption often precedes systemic improvement. When you change how you see, emotion transforms. Fear turns into gratitude. Resistance turns into refinement. That is the moment you ascend into higher awareness. From there, life continues to happen. But you are no longer a victim of circumstances. You become the one who reads its rhythm. And when you can read the rhythm, you begin to lead it. The universe does not need you to be stronger. It needs you to be more refined, to know when to tighten, when to release, when to stay still, and when to move. The version of you who once desperately chased outcomes has been gracefully replaced by the version of you who calibrates frequency. You no longer ask, "How do I get there?" You realize, with profound certainty, that you already are there, and everything around you is simply catching up to that powerful realization. Reality is inherently slower than consciousness. What you are currently experiencing now is simply the echo of your previous vibration. If you wish to change the echo, you must change the frequency. Stop adjusting the mirror and instead, adjust the signal you are emitting. In that moment, you will smile and understand. All along, pressure never came to break you. It came to show you how strong you have always been. When the storm sweeps through, everything you once believed to be solid is tested. The spiritual house you built with such care seems ready to fall. Your carefully arranged plans scatter into fragments suspended in mid-air, and you wonder if there is anything left to hold on to. Yet, in that exact moment, something extraordinary occurs amid the roar of wind and the pounding of your heart. A fragile silence appears. A thin beam of light slips through the darkness, not to illuminate the path ahead, but to remind you that light still exists, even if only as a faint trace. This darkest hour phenomenon is a recurring theme in narratives of both personal and national resilience, where hope emerges from despair. Most people were never taught how to see light within darkness, only how to wait for the sun to rise. But in the quantum process of transformation, the door never arrives from the outside. It begins with one small decision within, the decision to stay with yourself when everything is falling apart. When you are brave enough not to run from the storm, you begin to see that what seems to be collapsing is actually reorganizing. That beneath the surface of chaos, a new order is forming, precise beyond your imagination. These are not mere coincidences. They are quantum echoes, undeniable evidence that your consciousness is beginning to overlap with another timeline, the one where everything you seek already perfectly exists. Your deepest desires are not mere requests. They are, in fact, powerful memories. Your longing is not a signal of absence. It is a profound recognition. Your soul remembers realities that your linear mind has not yet fully caught up to. When you feel that deep ache for more, it is remembrance of your true potential. Every emotion you feel is pure energy, moving through layers of resistance, gently guiding you back to a state of coherence. The more you understand this fundamental principle, the less you will fear your emotions. Emotion is not chaos. It is invaluable information. Joy, excitement, and peace are clear confirmations of alignment. Fear, doubt, and shame are not punishments. They are vital distortions, showing you precisely where your signal weakens. You do not fight them. You simply observe them. Because the moment you observe without judgment, the emotional wave collapses into pure clarity. When a relationship ends, when a job collapses, when a project halts, look deeper inside. Somewhere within, you had already prayed for this change long ago, but you did not dare to admit it. So the universe did it for you, pushing away what no longer fits, sometimes roughly, to bring you back to your real path. This can be likened to a company shedding underperforming assets to refocus on core competencies, a common strategy in corporate restructuring. Moments that look like endings are often beginnings in disguise, and only in hindsight do you see that none of it was random. What you call failure is simply an incorrect equation, guiding you toward the right formula. What you call loss is life creating space for alignment. And what you call chaos is rebirth unfolding in the dark. If you can learn to stand at the center of the storm without judgment, you will hear the subtle sound behind every collapse, the sound of divine arrangement, where every falling piece lands exactly where it belongs. When your energy is scattered or chaotic, you cannot clearly hear guidance because interference distorts the signal. Coherence is synonymous with silence, clarity, and deep presence. You cannot access new data or insights from old, unintegrated emotions. That is why healing is not just about emotional relief. It is about precise frequency refinement. Forgiveness, both for yourself and for others, actively clears static from this vital channel. It liberates the energy that was trapped in judgment and redirects it powerfully toward creation. Forgiveness is not a weakness. It is a potent technology, a quantum reset. Each time you truly forgive, you collapse a layer of separation and return fragments of your power back into wholeness. Coherence deepens, and the field responds faster because it now has a clear, unhindered instrument, your body, your mind, your entire energy system to play through. These are your antennas, meticulously designed to receive and transmit universal intelligence. This is not a mere metaphor. It is fundamental physics. When the storm finally passes, what remains is not wreckage, but new ground, stronger and truer, and you stand upon it without trembling. That is the moment your soul crosses the threshold, leaving behind old perceptions and entering a new field of vibration, where you no longer view life through scarcity, but through the understanding that everything has purpose and meaning. Control begins to dissolve. You no longer need to hold tightly because you know everything is unfolding with precision, even when you cannot yet see the map. Reality did not change. Your resonance did. When your frequency stabilizes, reality has no choice but to rearrange itself around your new, powerful vibration. This is the precise mechanism of manifestation. It does not respond to sheer willpower. It responds to unwavering coherence. You cannot command reality externally. You can only command yourself into harmony, and the field echoes that harmony back to you like a beautiful song looping into manifest form. You no longer fear the storm, because you understand that the first light is always born from the darkest night. It is a lesson only those who dare to stay with themselves can truly know. Life is not a sequence of luck and misfortune, but a perfect rhythm of breaking and rebirth. Once you see this logic, you will never fear again. Every future upheaval becomes a sign of blessing, because you know that after every rain, the soil of your heart grows richer, ready for new seeds. And in that first deep breath after the storm, you realize the light shining down is no longer the same. It is the light of awareness transformed, illuminating the path ahead not with fear, but with gratitude. This cyclical understanding of growth and renewal is a constant in natural systems, affirming life's inherent regenerative power. No one can truly harm you unless they resonate with a frequency you still consciously or unconsciously hold. You are not a victim, you are a powerful transmitter. And when you change the transmission, everything unaligned naturally fades away. This is the real meaning of protection. It is not about building walls. It is about achieving frequency sovereignty. When your energy is deeply coherent, nothing incoherent can sustain itself around you. Your peace becomes an impenetrable force field. Your presence becomes the sacred boundary. This might be a phrase that keeps appearing, a number that follows you everywhere, a stranger who says exactly what you were thinking, or an opportunity that returns a third time after you've already said no twice. These are not tricks of randomness. They are emphasis marks from the energy field trying to capture your attention. This phenomenon, often explored in Jungian psychology as synchronicity, highlights the meaningful interconnectedness of seemingly unrelated events. The moment you meet it with conscious presence, it dissolves, because awareness is the ultimate solvent of illusion. The reason most people remain stuck is because they overanalyze instead of simply feeling. They recycle the same old mental patterns, expecting new outcomes. Emotion must be integrated, not avoided or suppressed. When you allow yourself to fully feel the wave of emotion without resistance, it passes through you, transforming into profound wisdom. Energy never truly dies. It only changes form. Pain is simply potential energy that is misdirected. Those who understand this language do not live through fear. They live through sensitivity, reading signs the way sailors read stars, knowing when to pause, when to move, when to be silent, so the wind can show direction. The universe does not shout, it whispers, and only those quiet within can hear. This intuitive intelligence is critical for adaptive decision-making, both personally and in fields requiring nuanced interpretation, such as intelligence gathering or market analysis. If you look back carefully, you will see how many times you were guided without realizing it. A sudden intuition that made you slow down just enough to avoid an accident. A chance meeting that opened an unexpected door. A subtle urge, to take a different path that led exactly where you needed to go. Every coincidence carries the fingerprint of invisible intelligence. And when you see this, you begin to live with gentle trust, no hurry, no resistance, simply observing and breathing with the flow. But to see these signs, you must do what is hardest for modern humans. Slow down. You are both ends of the same magnificent equation, the observer and the observed, the dream and the dreamer. In the quantum field, separation is merely an illusion. Your primary task is not to become them, but to dissolve what convinces you that you are not them. The version of you who struggles, who doubts, who fears, this is simply an old signal gracefully losing its strength. Do not fight it. Let it gently fade. The more you consciously rest in awareness, the faster interference collapses. The more you trust this constant communication, the clearer your path becomes. Soon, you will profoundly realize that the universe has never been silent. It has been speaking to you in the only language that truly exists, vibration. And you have finally remembered how to deeply listen. Once you hear that sacred song, you will understand that there was never distance, never delay, never a later. There was only now, infinite, timeless, and vibrantly alive. This is the moment where all versions of you merge into one coherent, unified being, the true you, the one who has already arrived. There comes a moment when simply remembering is no longer enough, when you must cease merely observing your potential and decisively begin embodying it. This is the critical threshold between awakening and true mastery. It's the profound difference between simply knowing the path and consciously walking it. The future self you have glimpsed is no longer a distant, theoretical vibration. It is the very frequency your body is now learning to sustain and integrate. Embodiment signifies that every cell in your being begins to move in harmony with the rhythm of truth. When you understand this, you stop searching with your eyes and start feeling with your frequency. When something makes your heart stir or feel familiar, even at first sight, that is the signal. The soul always knows the way. It is only the noisy mind that forgets how to listen. This deeper knowing can be crucial for navigating complex trade agreements or geopolitical alliances, where gut feeling can complement data. You are not laboriously building a new life. You are remembering how to live as the magnificent being who never forgot their inherent power. Embodiment is not about pretending to be perfect. It is about being so transparent that light can move through you without distortion or hindrance. Integrity becomes your fundamental frequency. It is the perfect alignment between what you consciously know and what you deliberately choose, between what you say and what you truly emit energetically. The world listens to vibration, not just your vocabulary. When you begin to honor the soft touches from the universe, everything in your life starts to fall into rhythm. Nothing feels chaotic. Every encounter happens on time. Every event holds purpose. The world stays the same. Only your frequency shifts. You start to read the flow of reality. And once you can read it, you stop being afraid, because you understand nothing is working against you. Everything is cooperating to lead you where you are meant to be. The question is not how to be guided, but how to recognize that you already are. This internal compass is a vital asset for entrepreneurs, making bold decisions, or political strategists, anticipating complex future scenarios. Your future self moves this way, with deliberate grace. They understand that reality bends to energy, not just emotion. They no longer react impulsively to circumstances. They respond consciously to the underlying frequency. When fear arises, they do not suppress it. They decode it. They ask, "What part of me still believes in limitation?" And they bring compassionate awareness there until it dissolves. This is true self-mastery, not control, but profound cooperation with life. You stop fighting what happens and begin reading it as intelligence. Every situation becomes a powerful transmission. Every person, a mirror. Every challenge, a code you are actively decoding in real time. And with every moment of understanding, you refine your frequency. When you understand the law of resonance, you stop asking how and start asking who. Who am I being in this moment? The answer is always reflected back immediately. If you transmit gratitude, life multiplies reasons for you to be grateful. If you transmit doubt, the field mirrors confusion. The field is mechanical in its reflection, but consciousness is inherently creative. That is why awareness is such immense power, because it is the only force that can truly rewrite the pattern of transmission. The more aware you are of your energy, the more precise your creation becomes. This is not about manipulating reality. It is about becoming one with it, seamlessly integrated. This is why those who are truly aligned often appear calm and serene, not because nothing happens to them, but because everything happens through them. They have become the open, clear space where life unfolds without resistance. Their peace is not detachment. It is deep, participatory engagement without distortion. They no longer separate the spiritual from the physical, the emotional from the practical. Everything is energy, so everything becomes sacred. Work, relationships, rest, money, all are expressions of the same underlying vibration. You no longer chase balance, you become it. When you move from a place of deep alignment, even the smallest action carries enormous force, because the energy behind it is pure and clean. Your words begin to create powerful ripples. Your silence begins to heal. Your very presence becomes instruction without needing to speak. You start influencing environments simply by being coherent. Coherence is contagious. It reorganizes chaos without effort. This is how leadership in the new paradigm works. Not by control, but by vibration. The most powerful people are those whose energy does not fluctuate with external circumstances. They hold their frequency steady in any condition, and the world subtly stabilizes around them. This steadiness is not indifference. It comes from knowing that nothing external truly defines your inner state. Reality mirrors you, but it cannot dictate you. The future self has mastered this. They understand that everything outside is a direct reflection of how deeply they trust the intelligence within. They move when clearly guided, rest when called to, and speak only when the energy is clear and resonant. They no longer chase a superficial purpose. They embody it. Purpose is not merely an activity. It is a frequency, the unique way consciousness expresses itself perfectly through you. When you embody your truth, you are already fulfilling your purpose without even trying. Every act becomes meaningful. Every interaction becomes sacred. Service stops being effort and becomes pure overflow. You give because you are full. You create because creation is your inherent nature. The world does not need saving. It needs coherence. And your coherence is your greatest offering to it. In this state, abundance is natural, because abundance is not merely accumulation, it is harmonious circulation. The more you embody your true value, the more value naturally flows through you. Money, opportunities, and support are simply reflections of this energetic exchange. Emotional scarcity dissolves because scarcity was never truly about a lack of external resources. It was about self-perception and limiting beliefs. The moment you profoundly know you are enough, you stop blocking the flow, and everything aligns. Embodiment turns abstract theory into vibrant vibration, forgiveness into true freedom, gratitude into an irresistible magnetism. It rewrites your nervous system to operate from a place of safety instead of constant survival. This is why you begin to feel peace even before external evidence appears, because peace itself becomes the undeniable evidence. The field reorganizes around your inner state, not your outer situation. You have crossed from mere belief into absolute knowing, and knowing is unshakable. No matter what happens outside, your inner energy remains whole and complete, because it no longer depends on outcomes. This is when manifestation becomes effortless, not because everything is suddenly perfect, but because nothing can threaten your internal coherence. The external world may still be in motion or chaos, but within you, there is only stillness. And from that stillness, arises spontaneous clarity. You no longer strategize or plan meticulously. You respond intuitively. And your intuition is not mystical or random. It is quantum intelligence, reading probability patterns faster and more accurately than your rational mind ever could. Every choice, guided by intuition, aligns you with the most efficient, highest timeline path. This is what your future self has mastered. They live in effortless synchronicity because they listen deeply. They are patient because they implicitly trust timing. They are powerful because they no longer leak energy through doubt or indecision. They have learned that rest is as sacred and vital as action. That silence is as creative as movement. That simply being is as productive as constantly doing. You are now learning these same profound truths. Once you embody coherence, you realize reality has always been your ally. It has been mirroring your evolution with mathematical precision. And now it is ready to expand even further with you, because you are stable enough to hold more energy, more creation, more impact. This is embodiment, not as an abstract idea, but as your very existence. You are no longer merely remembering the light. You are radiating it not as an effort, but as your inherent nature. You have become the frequency your future self always knew you could be, and the field has already recognized it. The awakening was never meant to end with you. It was meant to ripple outward, touching and transforming everything you encounter. The energy you hold now is not merely personal, it is collective. Consciousness does not awaken in isolation. It expands through connection. And every time you embody coherence, you become a powerful anchor point for others. Your presence stabilizes the collective field. Your peace communicates louder than any words. And your love becomes an unspoken instruction for those still remembering who they are. You may not visually see the effect immediately, but every conscious act of awareness sends a profound wave through the quantum web, touching lives you will never physically meet and shaping realities you will never directly witness. This is the quiet power of alignment. It is not dramatic. It is subtle, precise, and mathematical. When you shift even one atom of your consciousness, the entire field adjusts to accommodate it. The collective is not a random crowd of strangers. It is a profound mirror of your inner world. What you heal within yourself, you heal in the whole. When you genuinely forgive, you dissolve resistance in the larger energetic network. When you choose compassion, you rewrite collective memory itself. Your evolution is not separate from humanity's. It is the fundamental mechanism through which humanity evolves. That is why the field celebrates your awakening, not because you achieved something rare, but because you remembered something utterly essential. The truth that there is no separation. The pain of the world and the peace you seek are woven from the same singular thread. When you raise your vibration, you lift the potential of everyone connected to you. This is how change truly begins. Quietly, from within, one coherent frequency reorganizing millions of chaotic ones without struggle or force.